Hey guys, this is Rick and welcome to Walk and Talk number 4. I wanted to, since I kind of rambled on the last video, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Let's Play and where I see things headed. As I said, I think the Let's Play is going to split off into paid Let's Players, the indie Let's Players. The other possibility, of course, is that the way the game industry is set up, a big portion of the game industry, specifically the AAA type titles, they may place restrictions on. Oh, it's raining. I guess Mesa's like a desert. You can't see it. Place restrictions on Let's Plays. They may go that route as well. Let me talk a little bit about the gaming, where I see the gaming industry is right now. It appears to be that there's 3 segments of the gaming industry. There is the mobile market, which I'm not sure impacts the Let's Play any, at least at this point. I may be wrong. There is the indie market, which is relatively new. Not new in the sense that shareware type stuff's been around for a long time. But let's face it, the shareware model it never did work. Some people could get away with it. id Software, they were able to do it, but they made some decent games, and even they did not fare as well using that shareware model as some selling stuff in the brick and mortar stores. And of course the other segment is the big business. I'm going to call it big gaming, big business. Big business, big gaming is the AAA titles, the ones that have multi-million-dollar budgets. And the cost, if you buy one of those titles, you're going to spend. All the new ones that I've seen on Steam, for example, they're $69. So you're spending $70 a pop for those guys because they've spent a lot of money on the budgets. And I think that's the whole key issue here is money and how much money they're spending and how much money they want to get back. For big business, they're spending, as I said, millions of dollars on these AAA titles. Their budgets are very similar to oh, look at that. Like one little spot of rain in here. This must be like a plains, or what is it? Oh, river. That's funny. They're spending millions of dollars on these games, and they want to recoup their money as quickly as possible. The shelf life of video games is remarkably short. I mean, we're talking maybe a couple months, 3 months, 4 months at the most, 6 months if you're lucky. As soon as people buy this game, they'll buy the game and then they take it into, your local used software dealer and are trading it in within a week. So within a week, you'll be able to buy a used copy of the game that for, I don't know, maybe, 2/3 of the price that you paid, for the original title. And believe me, the gaming industry absolutely hates the reuse model. They do not like it one bit. And there's a lot of efforts going on to get rid of that. I think it's going to probably end up ending in their favor, just from the simple standpoint that I think brick and mortar is probably on its way out, and digital distribution is going to be the way to go. It's that way they again can control what's going on. But big gaming's spending a lot of money on these titles, and they're making a lot of money too. They have to be, otherwise they wouldn't be doing it. But you know how big business is. It isn't, it's the let's get money and get money and get money. There's never enough money for big business. let me put it that way. Enough is never enough for them. So they're always seeking ways to squeeze an extra few pennies out of their marketing model, whatever it may be. And I think this is a way for them to squeeze a little bit of extra money out of it by controlling the message associated with their titles. Controlling the message is a huge part of business. Believe me, there are companies, you wouldn't believe how much money is spent just on maintaining trademarks. It's unbelievable how much money Xerox, for example, spends to keep Xerox from becoming a generic term. They've spent tons of money on that because that is their, if Xerox, if the word Xerox became a generic term for a copier, I have my Xerox machine, which means, it's a Canon copier, but it's called a Xerox. If they lose that, they've lost a huge portion of what makes their business unique. So they're extremely jealous of that, and these companies really want to control that message, and the same with gaming. I've already seen in the Twitch broadcasts where they're saying, you cannot stream so-and-so game until, the 18th, otherwise, you're going to be banned. Okay, we're starting to see them wanting to control that message. So that's going to be one avenue that I think they may look at. The other avenue, though, is one that they can gain to profit from. Advertising is extremely expensive, and a big part of their budget is advertising. Well, let's say you want to pay there's some horses. You want to pay a Let's Player to play your game for advertising's sake. Well, you're not going to be paying him as much as you would a advertising house to create an ad for you that runs on YouTube or wherever. That, I think, is a model that they may take advantage of. At this point, I'm not sure which way they're going to go. I'm not sure if they're going to go the route of throttling YouTube Let's Plays to keep people from saying stuff about their game, or spoiling the game or whatever it may be. Or they're going to embrace it and say, this is not something that we can necessarily stop, so let's control it. Let's throw some money at it and make sure that the message that is being broadcast over YouTube is the message that we want people to hear. I think that's going to be the way big gaming is going to go. I could be wrong. Like I said before, predicting the future is tricky at best. It never ends up exactly the way you think. But to me, it seems to make sense that they would follow that route. Now, on the indie side of things, they don't have the multi-million-dollar budgets. These are 1 and 2 people shops. And I'll tell you this, the new indie revival that you see, back when this indie revival that you see reminds me of the 8-bit game revival that I saw when the 8-bit computers came out. When the 8-bit computers came out, let me tell you, there was just a truckload of games, cool, interesting, fun games that were being produced by individuals and, people starting software companies. I mean, it was a whole new thing. But you saw so much creativity and so much interesting stuff coming out. I mean, it wasn't just platformers like on most of the consoles. On the Commodore and the Atari and the Apple computers, you had people like SSI doing warfare simulation games, and SSI had a whole bunch of role-playing games that came out. That game, that Epidemic game that is popular right now on Steam. Well, SSI had You know, on the Steam game, you play the part of a virus. Well, SSI back during the 8-bit days, because I bought it for my Atari computer when I had it, they had a game where there was a global epidemic and you tried to fight the virus. So, you know, a lot of this stuff that you see nowadays has already been done, and it was done way back when the 8-bit. And then all of a sudden that like I said, the shareware model just was a huge failure, just a huge failure. A few people made some money on it, but 99.9% of everybody just couldn't make any money on it. And then when Steam came out, Steam has revived that indie gaming industry, and it's now thriving under the digital distribution model. And it's wonderful. Those people are going to embrace the Let's Plays because they can't afford the multi-million-dollar budgets and advertising of the AAA titles. So what they're going to do is they're going to say, hey, you know, let's play my game because, you know, it's free advertising and people are going to see it and I'll be able to sell it. I don't know how many copies of Starbound have been sold, but everybody and their brother's doing a Let's Play of it. So if you were to add up all of that exposure for the game, it'd probably be millions of dollars in advertising that they're getting for virtually free. And I'm sure they're selling a bunch of games. I know that a lot of these little 1- and 2-man shops have made it big. And they've made it big just because of the Let's Plays. I think part of Minecraft's success has been the Let's Plays. And Mojang has been very smart in allowing that to continue because it's free advertising, and I'm sure it's selling a ton of games. Big business, on the other hand, I think they're going to want to control the message because they've invested so much money up front in these games, and they continue to do so. You know, a Modern Warfare game has a budget of several $1 million, you know, 20, 30, 40 people working on it, advertising budget in the millions. They don't want to risk that. You know, that's why the innovation in big gaming is so low. You see right now the innovation in indie games. You don't see it in big gaming. And it's because they're spending too much money and it's too risky for them to you know, make those sorts of, they're going to make those sorts of risks. They're going to let other people make the risks. And then, like Valve has done, they'll look at that and say, hey, I can make a game out of that. And they'll buy it. And they'll pay the students and the guys that developed it. They'll give them a nice chunk of money, and they'll go on and make a game like Portal and Portal 2. So I think the Let's Play industry is going to be very different in the future. I think you're going to have a large segment that are going to be paid, and then you're going to have the independents who can't get into that because they don't have the 6 million subscribers. So they are going to be working in the indie industry. And I think you're really going to see the multi-million-dollar subscribers are the ones, multi-million subscriber channels are the ones that are going to be catered or courted by big gaming to, hey, you know, come over on ours, and, you know, you'll see possibly Let's Players that are hired by EA, and that's all they do. They Let's Play EA games, you know. Then again, the other possibility is that big gaming says, no, you're not going to do this, like the, you know, music industry has done, kind of clamp down on everything. And this may say, no, you're not going to do it, and the Let's Plays will end up being, you know, indie games only. So we'll see. But I don't think it's going to remain the way it is now. I think there's going to be changes. There has to be changes because you're starting to see it. You're starting to see people look at Let's Play because of the numbers and say, we need to really look at this. And I think they're going to do exactly that. So the three possibilities I see are paid Let's Players, independent Let's Players, mostly in the indie gaming, or big gaming coming in and saying, you know, we don't like this Let's Play thing at all, and we're going to shut you down. And then it'll just be an indie game Let's Play, and you know, you'll be able to get million subscribers, on a game like Minecraft, but you're not going to get that on Starbound. You're not going to get that on some of these other games. It's the AAA titles that are going to bring in the big ones. I consider Minecraft to be a AAA title just because it has that sort of fan base. But you're not going to get that on Starbound or any of these other games. You're just not going to get it. So we'll see. We'll see what the future of Let's Play is. I think it's going to be different. It could be good. It could be bad. I don't know. But we'll see what happens. Well, that's it for this session of Walk and Talk. I appreciate you watching, and I will talk to you again next time. Goodbye.